let's talk about how we can port our Xamarin.Forms custom handler to our .NET MAUI handler. This presentation will be more like live in code, but I have a few slides here to do some theoretic class. So if I have time, I introduce myself. All right. So let's move on. So let's think. Let's talk first about what is the .NET MAUI. I'm pretty sure that most of you already know one of the things the .NET MAUI is, but the .NET MAUI is a one thing more than just a UI framework. And Brandon Minnick also answered the question for us on a tweet. So .NET MAUI has two parts, and we have that UI framework that we will use to build our amazing mobile applications that will be an evolution of the Xamarin.Forms, and we can do that using XAML, and will be MVVM friendly. But .NET MAUI is also a handler engine. What that means? That means like if you want to create your own UI framework, and you don't need you don't want to handle how you do the bridge between your shared code, your abstraction control, and your native controls, you can use the .NET MAUI engine to do that. So he mentioned a sample here, like on the handlers, you have an I button because the .NET MAUI builds on interfaces. So that interface I button will become a UI button if you are using an iOS platform, for example. If this is not very clear for you right now, don't be worried. I will show that will be clear in the next slides because we will talk about the handlers and about the handlers architecture, all right? So the handlers architecture is not more, not less than involving the architecture of the Xamarin.Forms. So we have here the old way to do handlers. So we have our entry handler here. And think the handler as a bridge between your shared control, that in this case would be the Xamarin.Forms entry, that code, that control that we use on the XAML side and the shared code side, and the entry handler will be, the handler itself will be that bridge between the shared control and the platform-specific control. All right, so in this case here, if you are talking about iOS, I believe this will be a UI text view, is the entry control, their native control, and the handler will do the bridge between that shared code. But since we don't use interface tiers, we use a concrete class, it's kind of hard to make customizations. So let's jump to the new way, the .NET MAUI handler way. So we have an interface here, .NET interface, the iEntry interface, and that iEntry interface is what the entry handlers knows, and we will use it to construct our native control. So the handler here, in the theoretical way, is the same thing the handler, Xamarin.Forms handler is. So it is a bridge between our native control and our shared control. And we can implement that interface and create our own control. So in the case of the .NET MAUI, we will have a MAUI entry control. But remember that the .NET MAUI is also a handler engine. So since we have this interface here, we can use any kind of entry that we want in other UI framework. So for example, here I can have a comment entry, and the comment will be the MVU framework for the .NET MAUI. So if you like the MVU, you can use that. We can have a Fabulous entry, you can have a reactive entry, and all those frameworks, all these UI frameworks, we will use the same entry handler for the .NET MAUI. That means that we will use the handler engine of the .NET MAUI. And in the future, if you have a new pattern, a new way to build mobile applications, you can create that UI framework, you can create your own UI framework, and don't need to care about the native implementation of that thing. You can use the .NET MAUI and just care about the shared layer. So why I'm saying that? Because when you look to the .NET MAUI code on the library code, you will see a lot of interfaces. So the controls will be built based on interface. And that is fine, and that will be the correct way for libraries. But when you're talking about our mobile application, maybe we don't need that flexibility. We don't need that to use the interface. We can use that concrete type, and that will be good as well, because that control should be used just for our mobile application. So let's see this in action. So I choose a handler that was built by my good friend Yoni on his Duolingo clone app. So he made a clone of the Duolingo application and all on Xamarin.Forms. And the handler that will be ported will be this horizontal progress bar here. And I will show you the handler working and why I choose this handler. So let me share my mobile device here. So as you can see, a little in a few seconds on the screen. Not sure if you are seeing this. Oh yeah, I believe that now you are
Yeah,
working.
sorry.
Not worse. I will be switching between windows here. So I have here my mobile application running, and I have this progress bar here at the bottom. And if I press that button, you can see that my value changed, my progress value changed, and the color changed. So this is my custom handler there. And I will show you the custom handler on my Xamarin.Forms project. And after that, we will jump to the .NET MAUI project and do that migration ourselves. So here we are. So I have, let me stop the debugging here session. So it's nothing, different that you already know. So we have here let me increase this one a little bit. So we have here the shared control that we inherit for the view. We have a couple of bindable properties there. Amazing, awesome. And on our platform specifics, we have the handler itself with the export handler. We have the all elements change override methods there when you create an instance and initialize our custom control. And we have our own element property changed method where we do the logic when any of those properties change its values. And here we have helper methods to get the drawable and put the color on our background and our track color there, and also to change the progress. So if you see here, we're using durable researches. So we have here, oops, two XAML the Android files that is just shapes. So this we have this particularity here because we need to handle those Android resources. And for iOS one, we have the iOS handler as well. And since iOS doesn't have the progress bar control itself, the way that Ioni wanted to do this, his Duolingo clone, he built uh, he built a way to draw that progress bar. So here we have his code and when he draw it, and and for the shared code area on the XAML part, that is not too fancy. We just import the XAML namespace of that control, as you can see here, and use that control, okay? Anything new here? Everything we already know. This is our daily basis of the mobile applications to build the custom handlers. So now let me share my Visual Studio 2022, and let's start to porting this handler to a handler. So let me organize here just. Okay, so you are seeing my screen, and let's do that. So first of all, I already created some folders here. So I will show you at the end another way to organize your custom controls, okay? But right now I just create a controls folder here on the shared layer, and inside the platforms folders and the iOS and Android platforms, because I will just target those two platforms, I created the controls folder there as well. In case of the Android, since I have those XAML files, I needed to create the drawable folder here because it's not on the default template. So you just do right click here, add, and do add a new folder there. And that will do the job for you, all right? So yeah, let's start with that. So the first thing that I will do, I will create a new class here, and you call it as horizontal progress bar. And I will just copy and paste that value, that same control that I have on my Xamarin.Forms project. So let Visual Studio think a little bit. Okay, take your time. And boom, pasted here. Exactly the same. I don't change anything yet. And if I do control dots here, I will import the namespaces. So basically, I will just need to change some namespaces because now I don't use the Xamarin.Forms namespace anymore. I use the .NET MAUI one, and I will bring my .NET MAUI graphics here. And also be aware because on the Xamarin.Forms, we will have the color.transparent. On the Xamarin.Forms, if you want to, sorry, on the .NET MAUI, if you want to use that predefined color, you should do them in plural. So it will be colors.transparent. And boom, everything works, everything builds. Let me adjust that because I am a tab person. So, okay, pretty easy. All right, so let's do, now let's create our handler. So the handler will be, oh, I'm a lazy person, so let me copy this name here. And let me do that again. And let me call this as handler. So the handler will be like that thing that will connect our shared control to our native control. Okay, so I just need to change this to partial one because we want to implement this in other platforms. So this will be partial, all right? Because of the multi-target approach. So remember that, and don't be worried. The Visual Studio will be a little bit crazy here because it's still on preview, and that probably will lost in some spaces. But okay, everything good. I also maybe need to close and restart the Visual Studio again. But preview live, living on the edge. So first of all, we need to create our mappers. So uh, let's create our mapper here, and our mapper will ask for two values here. So let me just make the using here. Okay. Okay, so it's happy now. So let's see what this asks for me. So it asks us a virtual view and a native and a view handler. So my virtual view will be my shared control. In that case, will be my horizontal progress bar control. And my handler will be this guy here. So just copy and paste. And this will complain because that will say they're not inherited, but don't worry about it. And I will do just call it this mapper. And I will do new. And this is C#9, so I just need to do new because it's already know that will be this type here. And this will complain because it's saying, not sure if you guys can see it, but it's saying that this handler does not inherit from oh, sorry, a lot of misclicks here, and not handler from iElement handler. But this is not an issue right now because we will do that on the native code, all right? So right now we needed to create our property changes here. So the way to do that, the property mapper is not then a dictionary of string and actions. So this string could be our property name that we want to change. So here, let's do the progress one, and I will call it as map progress. And I will do also the name of here for my progress color, and I will do map progress color, and also name of horizontal progress bar dot track color, and map track color. So those will be my methods. I don't create them yet, so let's create that for Android first. But first, we need to have our XAML files there on the drawable folder. So let's create both of those XAML there. So I choose data here, I choose the XAML file here, and let's create that one. Let me grab that content. So just copy and paste. And let's go to the track bar one. Data, XAML file, and just grab that code. And you don't need to care about the The properties of this, the build action here will be none, but don't worry about that. The .NET MAUI under the hood will take care of that for you. So you don't need to care about that. So with that, let's create our horizontal progress bar handler, but for the Android platform. So I will create my handler there, and I will do this a partial class because we have the same name. And be careful here, since we are in different folders, and this is a partial class, we need to make sure that you are on the same namespace. So you go to my handler, and I copy this namespace here, and I paste here. So with that, we are almost completed here. We need just to take care about some imports, and we need to handle from the view handler. And the view handler comes from, you will not help me, right? So let me bring those using statements right here. And let's see if the Visual Studio will be happy now. Not yet, but no worries. So we need our horizontal progress bar here. And this is the shared control, and we need the native view control. So the native view will be the progress bar. And that lives on the, let Visual Studio thinks a little bit. Come on, buddy, you can do this. Yeah, on Android widget namespace. So I have that control here, and I have my handler here now. So the first thing that we need to do, you see there is not squiggles here, but if you go here, you see a bunch of squiggles. Because of this way of the multi-targeting, the Visual Studio can be a little bit confused, but you can see here that this telling me that the horizontal progress bar handler doesn't implement the abstract member. So I need to do this right here on the Android side. So I will do my override, and I will override my create native view. So this is the method that I will create my native view. This is kind of the all element changing method on the Xamarin.Forms side. So let's do var native view, and let's instantiate our progress bar here. This will be our Android progress bar. So I need to pass my context. I will pass no here because I don't have any special attributes. And the style for this will be, what is the name? Resource attributes, maybe. Oops. Attribute and horizontal is the progress bar style horizontal. So this will make sure that my progress bar will be horizontal. So let me break the line here. Whoops. And I will return this native view. Of course, I could just return this statement, but if you want to debug, having a local variable there will be better for us to test. So we also have our connect handler method. So this is the method that we want to use when we want to initialize our control. So like if you want to assign some events or do some listeners or services, this is the place to do that. And when you want to clean up your handlers, you can do disconnect the handler. So when you want to subscribe your events and everything else. So I will just copy some paste code here to you don't see me doing the initialize thing. And we will create these methods right in a few, right? So don't bother about this thing here. But this is just me doing the initial work, all right? So instantiating my values and my colors there. So we need to create those mappers here. So let's do a control dot and let Visual Studio help me, because this will be the way that we will create those mapper progresses. And this will be my handler, and this will be my view. So this will be my shared view, right? My horizontal progress bar, my shared control, and this will be my handler here passing right here. So for this, I like to use the .NET MAUI way to go. That is just creating extension methods. So I will do native view, and on native view, I can create an extension method here. So since this is the progress, I will use the update progress value, and I will pass my view dot progress right here, all right? And this method doesn't exist yet, so let's create that class and that method. So inside the control, I will create a class called uh, progress bar extensions. This will be static, and I will do public static void. What is the name that I'm using? Update progress value, and this progress bar. And let me bring the, let me type this first, and value, and okay. So I need to bring my using statement for the Android project. So I will do this. And now I will go to my Xamarin.Forms project, and I can copy and paste a little bit of code, right? So let's go there. And for changing the value, I have on my Xamarin.Forms project a method there that will take care about it. I will import this as local function, and I will call my native view dot set progress, and I will call it this local function, passing the value, and I will set this to true because I want to do animation when I movement the uh, the progress bar there, right? So okay, this is one, and let's do for others as well. So let me copy this guy here, and this will be called the map progress bar color. So we have a different name, and let me bring that. Oh, not yet. Let's finish this, and after that we'll bring everything that you need. So I need to copy this one more time and change the name to map track colors. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward so far. And for those I will not be typing, I will just copy and paste that from my existing code there, and I will need to bring some using statement. So let me just change this to this progress bar here. There's two native, so I want to change my color to my shard color to be a native color one. So I have this extension to native, but I need to bring my use statement for that. So let's do that for everyone. And there is something funny here because about namespacings, that is the, let's see if I can reproduce that again. Okay. And as you can see here, the Android.graphic.color is not being found, and not sure why, but if I change the namespace here to be just XamExpertDay.platform, change removing that Android namespace there, I have this working. And one thing that we should need to care about the colors is this here, because the colors now can't be null. So on the .NET MAUI, colors are no more structs, so they are classes, and we need to care about nullables here. So I just check for null. So if my color is null, I will just return, and I will do nothing. Okay, don't care about this. This should be working. Let me see, just double check if the names are correctly. Yeah, I think so. So when we build, maybe that fixes the stuff there for us. So let me bring that namespace for my native, for my extensions, and boom, our handler is working. Pretty straightforward. All right, so let's just review this real quickly. So create my native control and initialize my native control with the default values, if there is default values on my XAML control there. And I create my mappers right here. And my mappers is calling my extension methods to change the values, all right? So, and those are my extension methods here that will do the job. So moving back here, we need to fix some things because they are asking about a constructor. So you need to have a constructor here, and we need to provide our mapper to the base type. So I will do that base, and I will pass a mapper here. And I will do another constructor as well, because I empty constructor, and if we do not provide any mapper, we will use this mapper here. And let's pay attention to something, because we need to pass also, we can pass here another mapper that will be the view mapper. So view mapper here. What is this? So since my control inherits from the view control, so let's move back here. We have this view control here, and it's a good pattern to pass the view mapper here, because it's already mapped, because the .NET MAUI already built these mappers for background color, for hide request, and all of those methods. So this will be amazing to use here. This is amazing because we don't need to implement that by ourselves. We just pass here, and this mapper handler will inherit that already mappers, and you can just add your own mappers here. All right, so this will probably complain because we need to implement on the iOS side. So let's go to the iOS one, and on iOS, let me create my my control there. All right, so I horizontal progress bar iOS, and I believe that I have, yeah, I have a snippet here that I created that iOS draw control. All right, so yeah, we are good to go. I did some changes from the Ioni handler because the iOS one doesn't respond to the property change, so I just made this change here to make that work properly with property change. So let's create our view handler, horizontal progress bar handler on Android side, and on on the iOS side, and you can just copy and paste this guy here. But instead of using the progress bar, because iOS doesn't have one, we will use our own here. And let me bring my handlers to bring that. And remember that we needed to change the namespace to be the same one. So let's just change the namespace here and give some time to the Visual Studio think, because it's a lot of work. And it will be good to change the namespace of this guy here to make everything easier for us. So the same steps here. I needed to create my my native view. Create native view. Sometimes Visual Studio doesn't complete this. Oh, come on. The right, create native view. Oh boy. Okay, IntelliSense is not helping me, so let's do the old way. So now it works. So here I needed to create my native view, all right? So let's do that. So I will have my virtual view here. That will be my property virtual view. That will be my shared control. So if you see here, it's my horizontal progress bar. That my shared control layer. So nothing fancy from here. The native view. And I will create my new horizontal progress bar iOS. And I will pass my, oopsie, virtual view, request, view.high request. I need to pass my color, and this will be my track color, and I needed to convert that to CG color. So let's come on, Visual Studio. Okay, I will do that in the second. So choose CG color as well, and finally our progress value there. So the way that was built, I need this to pass that from from the constructor. So I will return now my native view as we did for Android one. All right. So let's see if I have a snippet. Oh, I have a one for the Android handler. Ha! So I forgot completely about that. So let's win time here. So I did the same thing there. I just grabbed my two CG colors. That way you don't need to be typing that again because it will be very repetitive. The way that I did for iOS was a little bit different from Android, but this is intentional to give you more ideas on how you can implement that. So on Android side, I used extension methods to do that because that was needed more work. And here I did the in the property basis. So I just use the set of the properties and I set that values to the specific properties inside my native view. And my native view is that horizontal progress bar that Ioane just created. And here I need to check for no because you cannot have an obvious operator when you are talking about setting property values. So just do the no check here and we are good to go. And I believe with that, we are pretty much done. So let me see here. And hey, our mapper now is happy because we have that implemented on both platforms, Android and iOS. So let's move to the part that we will use our control on our MAUI application. So this will be like the same thing that we do for the Xamarin.Forms. So we need to create our Xamarin namespace there, and we need to import our shared control, and I will just copy and paste something that I have here. But first, let me just round this with vertical stack layout. Okay, and I will paste my control here. Instead of control should be local. And let's do something fancy here on the button because I am a very lazy person. So I just binding my control to this progress bar control here, and the text of my button will be the progress value, all right? So same thing that you have been doing with Xamarin.Forms when you want to do binding context between Xamarin controls. And let's add here our super fancy logic. I believe that is the code behind the snippet. No, progress bar view. So I have this here. Every time that I click my button, I will grab a handle value for my progress, and my track color will grab also a handle value of RGB, and we will change its color. All right. So let's using .NET, the MAUI.graphics there, and I believe that you are good to go. Let's see if everything works. So let's debug this. And let's Visual Studio Thinking. And let me take a look on the chat, see if you have any questions so far. And oh, hello, a lot of people from Brazil. Hello, hello, everyone. Good to see everyone here. Kind Felipe Baltazar, Vladimir Ribeiro. And yeah, a lot of good persons here. Glad to see everyone.
I don't think there were any questions yet. A lot of people who seem happy to see you, probably friends from Brazil, so that's good. We were just chatting about maybe creating a Pedro fan club, so who knows?
Who knows? Okay, so yeah, guys, build takes some time. So let's reviewing the handler part during the build process. So I just created my my view control, and this exactly a copy and paste of the Xamarin.Forms one because this is a MVVM friendly control, and I want to use MVVM on the .NET MAUI, so I just copied this one. If you are building a plugin or a NuGet package, a control that will be used in a lot of places, will be great to have some interfaces here. So you could define a horizontal progress bar interface and put those properties here as inside your interface, all right? And we have our handler here. And again, if you are working on a NuGet package, instead of having that control itself, you can have your interface here on the shared layer. And why this is important? One sample is about the Comet framework, all right? And the Comet framework is an MVU framework, is an MVU flavor of the .NET MAUI, and that is Clancy is doing. And Clancy did something amazing, that he created some source generators to generate the Comet controls. And it will use the interfaces to do that. So, example, the community toolkit.maui. We will build our handlers, our controls there, like pop-up controls, camera view controls, use interfaces. That means that if you will use the Comet framework, you can use the community.maui and can use our controls on the Comet, because since we are doing interfaces, the source generator that Clancy made can generate the controls for the Comet, use the interfaces, and can use the handler in game to handle our controls there, our native controls there. So, this is very, very powerful. You create your control just to us, you maintain that just to us, and you can use across .NET MAUI flavors. But since this is just a handler for my mobile application, and I will not use that in the package or something like that, I will be cool. I will be, take it easy and just use my concrete type there. So, so yeah, it's taken a while. Not sure why that is taking a while. Yesterday, everything was fast and furious, and now it's, little sleepy, maybe. And if I do not have too much time, I have already that control here on my mobile application, and I will just show that. That way you can win some time. Mhm. I believe that I have more 6 minutes, right? So
Yeah, about six minutes. So.
oh, it was building, but it was not showing the progress. Huh, silly me. So I will not show the application yet because that will crash. And I want that to crash because maybe you see this error, and here I can tell you what you need to do to fix that crash, all right? So yeah, let's wait out this time just to see a crash message here. And boom, we have this exception, and uh, maybe that can pop up a message telling handler not found for view horizontal progress bar. And what that means? That means that I forgot to register my handler. And how will you do that? You remember that the Xamarin.Forms handler, you use that assembly interface, but on the .NET MAUI, you just use extension methods here. So I will call the configure MAUI handlers, and I will pass delegate there, and here I will just add a handler method. And here I need to pass the type of my my shared view. So it's horizontal progress bar control, and I need to pass my handler type. So I build my horizontal progress bar handler. And boom, and I will start with all the debugging because maybe that will be faster. So let's wait a little bit more. So let me share my mobile device here. That way you can see the application running in a few moments, I believe. Huh. Okay, something wrong has happened. So let me open that again because my screen sharing is not working anymore. Oh, now we are talking. Let me show that again. So yeah, I have this beautiful control here on the .NET MAUI side, and voila, it's working. Amazing. So yeah, that is pretty much it. It's not very hard to do. And before I finish, let just me show you the other way that you can create your controls, all right? So let me pop up that my Visual Studio again. And da-da-da-da. So on the Visual Studio here, you can see that I have just one folder called controls that is on the shared layer. So I do not use in the platforms anymore. And I have all my handlers and shared control right here. And I use .android and .ios to split between the platform specifics. But sadly, that is not built in on the template, .NET MAUI template. Please, .NET MAUI team, add this to the template. But if you want to go this way, and I prefer to go this way, I believe that it's easier having all the control and handlers together in the same folder. You just need to add those item groups conditions here to make that work, all right? And basically, you can go to the .NET MAUI project and go to the new spec folder and find the file for the multi-target and copy and paste. And, developers' way to do the things, copy and paste is my way to program. And that is just, make sure that every file that has .android in the name will compile it just for Android platform, and every file that has iOS.ios in the name or inside the iOS folder will compile it just for iOS. And we have that files in the shared layer, outside the platforms folder, and everything together. So this is the second way to do, all right? And that is pretty much it.